Welcome to A Great Day with Hunter Mizar. Hunter's special guest today is Lyndon Haines. Now, here's Hunter.
Welcome to A Great Day with Hunter Mizar. I'm out here at the Weiser Senior Activities Center and with Living in the News. This week we have a special guest for you. This whole premise of the show has been built around the idea of highlighting good people, because we know there's enough bad news out there. So we're trying to highlight good people doing good things in the community. I'm sitting down with a guy who is one busy dude. I mean, he's a pastor, he's a firefighter, he's a county commissioner, he's president of the Boosters Athletic Club. And so we're sitting down this week with Lyndon Haines. And Lyndon, I have this theory that Weiser is a boomerang town, meaning I think a lot of people grow up here and then they think to themselves, I'm going to go out into the big world, experience the big world, and then they come back around. And I think that's kind of your story. So tell me a little bit about growing up in Weiser, what brought you back here?
Yeah, so I grew up, kind of out by the airport where my grandparents lived. My parents built a house out there when I was in first grade, so I went to first grade on. I actually was going to the community church with my grandma though my entire life. So even when we didn't live here, I still had a connection here.
Okay.
So when I moved here and started going to school at Pioneer, I had some friends because of church already. And then graduated high school, went to Boise for Bible college, came back. My wife is of course from here. She's a year younger than me. And so
you were high school sweethearts, or?
No, we knew each other growing up. We went to
Okay.
church together our whole lives. So I think we've known each other since we were about 6 years old, but we actually
Okay.
never dated in high school.
Nice.
We started dating when I was in college, and I was coming back doing youth ministry
Okay.
on Wednesdays and Sundays.
Mhm.
And her family was going to church at the Christian church, and that's how we kind of started to reconnect.
Yeah.
And she was going to Treasure Valley Community College. And then we got married and was working and ended up moving to Northern California for about 4 years. And then we were able to come back, and we knew we wanted to raise our family in an area like this. We were hoping it would be Weiser, but
Okay.
you know how it is in ministry. You go where
Right.
you have to go, and so we didn't ever think really that we could come back to Weiser, but the opportunity came and we were able to come back and couldn't be happier. But yeah.
So this isn't a scenario that you grew up and went, I just want to go experience the world and I want to get out of here. I mean, it sounds like you really enjoyed it. And the goal was to eventually come back all along.
Yeah. I mean, both sides of our family are here, so we have all those connections.
Yeah.
And then we just loved growing up here. We loved being able to grow up in Weiser, and we wanted our kids to experience something like that.
Sure.
So when we were in Northern California, we were in a small community.
Right.
It was an agricultural-based community,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the same feel as Weiser. There's something unique
That's
about
right.
this community. And
Yeah.
so, we couldn't be more grateful to be able to be back here.
Yeah. Now, I think a lot of people that are going to be watching this are curious. You were a county commissioner, and now you decided not to re-elect. Tell us why, what kind of the process of your thinking?
Yeah, so I got elected on a 4-year term, and so I was, the world's changed a lot. So
Yeah, sure.
when I decided to run, none of us had ever heard of the word COVID before.
Okay.
And then during my, 2 months into my campaign, going to senior centers and visit,
Yeah.
the world shut down and everything
Right.
changed. So it was a lot of learning and a lot of kind of chaos there at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's a huge time commitment, and I've tried to make sure I've given that time necessary to do the job well. I don't like doing things part way or kind of.
Yeah.
And so right before Christmas, we sit down with the kids because we decided to run as a family. We were going to run again as a family. And I said, guys, what do you want to do? And they said, well, Dad, we'd like you to be home for dinner. And I thought that's a pretty fair request to make.
Ugh. That
Yeah,
gets you right in the heart.
yeah.
How many kids do you have?
Three. So
And
that
they're
was-
all kind of young, right?
Yeah. Youngest is in second grade. My oldest is a seventh grader.
Yeah.
So they're hitting that time where they're just super busy with activities and sports. And I'm missing some of that stuff. And I decided
And we'll never get those time back.
you
Yeah.
can't go back in time.
Right.
And that's the most important. The most important job I've ever had is being a father.
Yeah.
And it's a job I cannot and will not fail at. And so I decided, you know what, I can be a county commissioner some other time.
Sure.
When the kids are all gone and they're off
Okay.
doing their own thing. So
Yeah.
so that was really the main motivation of why. I've really enjoyed the job. I really
Yeah.
enjoy the research and even the times where it's been like controversial or people are on both sides of it.
Right.
I've enjoyed it, but like you said, you can't go back in time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have any regrets, and certainly not regret when being a father or a husband.
Yeah. Good for you.
So
you seem to be really interested in sports in our community. You and I served together on Future Wolverines program for the rec department, but I know you're the president of the Boosters. I mean, where does that come from, and what are you hoping to accomplish with the Boosters?
Well, so Ron and Betty Bruce, who Ron and I have been in the fire department forever, he's kind of the one who trained me. They were the ones that kind of glued the glue for the Boosters in the past, and then it just kind of, they got so busy with other things that it kind of just fell by the wayside. And so Mike Jones, who's also on the Boosters with me, we were coaching rec football, and we were just talking at the truck, hot summer night about the stuff we'd like to see get done, and we thought, well, the way to get this done is just get those Boosters going again. And so
because they've kind of been dormant.
Yeah. I mean, people, I think, were still making donations to it.
Sure.
But we no activities. There was no organization, and so we decided, if we're going to do this, let's do this right. So we went and applied for our 501c3, did a bylaws, constitution, and put a board together.
Wow.
And so last year we were able to give $1,000 to each program, and then we've been able to give a little bit more too as money.
Are we talking just the high school?
Just the high school at this point, yeah. I mean, the goal would probably be eventually to expand even to the middle school level, but right now we're just trying to get our feet back underneath us, and so it's been a great experience. We have a great board of people who've devoted a bunch of time to it. So the board is myself, Mike Jones, Kevin Frostheiser, Debbie Laird she takes all of our notes, and our treasurer, who has done an amazing amount of work. She did all of our paperwork. She did, applied for our 501c3 is Jody Johnson, and she's been just all the board has been invaluable, but she's done so much legwork for us, and has devoted so much time and energy to it, and really appreciate all of them, because it
sounds like a rock star team. I mean,
it's been great.
That's a great group.
Yeah, it's been good, and it's a lot of energy to get up off the ground, right? So I mean, that's been the biggest part. Is we try to make sure we have people on the board that were going to be invested to get this thing going, because we knew how much work it was going to be.
Yeah. So tell us your involvement with the fire department. You're a volunteer? You're full time? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm a volunteer. So I actually started when I was in Bible college still. So I started in 2008.
Wow.
And they wanted a chaplain. Steve Pinner had done it before me, and he had moved on and was doing stuff with the city of Weiser. Yeah. And so they kind of had a void there. So they brought me in under because I wasn't sure. I had never done any of that. So I said, I'll come be the chaplain and try it out. And I remember showing up at the first call. They give you a pager. Show up, lights, sirens, people leave, and I thought, well, I can't just stand here and watch. I got to do something more. So that's when I decided to actually join. Yeah. So I joined in 2008. Okay. I did it all the way until we moved to California. I actually served in a volunteer organization in California too. Yeah. And then joined again when I came back. So it's been 15 years. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's been great. So I serve as a captain and as a chaplain on the fire department, but as a volunteer. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
So you've come back to pastor in your own community, which sometimes can be a challenge, because sometimes people look at you from when you were young, and we all did some dumb things when we were younger. Absolutely. And sometimes they have a hard time seeing you in that role, but you seem to have made that transition well. I mean, tell me about your role, because that's why you came back, was to pastor the church. So tell me about how is it pastoring a community that you grew up in, that you run around in, and how has that all worked?
Well, it's a unique experience. I mean, I grew up in the community church, so Pastor Steve baptized me when I was 17. Wow. So I didn't grow up in the church I pastor. I mean, I think I'd been in the church a couple times before I became an intern, and Nick Hilton was the pastor then, and I was the same age as his girls and stuff, and so he found out I was going to Bible college, and he said, why don't you just come and do some youth ministry in the summer for us and see if it's something you like. That's what I was majoring in. Okay. And so I did that, and I was really enjoying that, and then he gave me a chance to preach, and I'd never taken a preaching class. Wow. This was after my freshman year. And it was.
I'm sure it was intimidating.
Well, there's still people here that heard it, which I wish you had that Men in Black device that could wipe people's memory, because it was probably the worst sermon ever preached. It was like 7 minutes, 7 verses on love. Nice. I was so nervous. I probably was about ready to throw up. I love it. But in the moment, Hunter, I felt the call to that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. And it wasn't because it was good, because it was not. Yeah. I promise. And so I actually went back to Bible college next year, changed my major from youth ministry to preaching. Yeah. And decided this is what I want to do. Wow. Yeah.
How many people, when you were a youth pastor then at the Christian church, are still around? I mean, I'm sure it's changed quite a bit.
Yeah. There's some kids still that are around the community, which was cool. I youth pastored in Fruitland for a while too. Yeah. Which was unique. It was a little hard because they loved teasing me about being from Weiser, and I loved teasing them about being from Fruitland. Right. But there's some of those kids I've got to do their weddings and stuff. so that's been really cool. See their children be born.
Yeah.
You start feeling a little old when that happens. It's like, man, I thought I was young.
Right.
The years go by pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it's been a great experience, and I've really enjoyed being in the community. It can be tricky, just because you're right. I mean, when we were younger, none of us in our youth were making
Absolutely.
the best decisions, but I felt like I made decent ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably riding around my dirt bike too fast. I'm sure there's people who complain about that.
Right.
It's been unique. It has been unique. But it's been fun.
Yeah. So what's the key to balancing? You're a father, you're a husband, you're a pastor, you're a firefighter, you're on these boards, you're a coach. But what would you say is kind of the way of at least keeping balance? Because like you said, you don't want to do things halfway. Obviously getting off the commissioners was a big part of that. But I mean, how do you keep balance?
I don't know that I'm the person to be great at it. I'm trying to learn it. That's why I made the decision to step away from the commissioners. I felt like I was out of balance.
Yeah.
That I was not putting first things first.
Sure.
And so that's the thing I looked at, that I went, that's not, it's important, absolutely. I've enjoyed it, but it's not, I don't feel like it's my calling.
Yeah.
I feel like, being a dad and a husband, being a pastor, being in the fire department, coaching kids, those are all a part of my calling. Those all fit into what I feel like I've been, like God created me to do.
Sure.
The commissioner was the thing I looked at that went, I can get rid of that thing and not feel like I've abandoned who God has called me to be and what He's called me to do. And so that's the reason I chose that one.
Yeah.
Was to step aside. Was I feel like the other ones all fit in more with who God has called me to be and wants me to be and how He wants me to serve. And so it's been an incredibly difficult decision, but one I know is right.
Sure.
I know it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lyndon, I got to tell you, you're a prime example, I think, of people that make our community great. So thanks for the ways you volunteer. Thanks for the ways that you help. I mean, this is such a great community because of good people like you. And I want to thank you for watching Living in the News and a great day with Hunter Mizar. We'll see you real soon.